Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Ticking Together. As always, the goal of this channel is to provide education about and to raise awareness as to what it's like living with Tourette Syndrome. For those of you new here, hi, my name is Carly. I'm 24 years old and I have Tourette Syndrome. Tourette's is a neurological disorder, which means it affects my brain. And it causes me to make involuntary movements and sounds known as tics. So when I flipped you off there with that middle finger, very unintentional. I'm not meaning to give you the finger, not meaning to say F off. This is all completely involuntary and out of my control, but it's a part of my disorder. It's something I live with every single day. And I made this channel Ticking Together to help educate viewers like you about what it's like to live with Tourette syndrome. My goal of this channel here is to break the stigma that surrounds Tourette's. Because Tourette's is a very misunderstood disorder. In the media, there's a lot of mockery and humiliation surrounding Tourette syndrome, and I want to make the world for people with Tourette's an easier place to live in, as well as a happier and better place. If you would like to help me with my goal of all of this, please subscribe to my channel and ring that notification bell to stay tuned to all of my content here at Ticking Together. Today's video is dedicated to something that I don't often talk about on this channel, but I'm really heckin' struggling tonight. And I wanted to bring awareness to this through this video. So as you guys know, I always introduce my videos to you guys explaining what Tourette syndrome is. At the beginning of this video, I already said Tourette's is neurological, it causes involuntary movements and sounds, yada yada yada. But what I don't often tell you guys is that Tourette's and tics can also be mental. They can be in your brain. And what I mean by this is there are such things as mental tics, which means tics that happen in your head. They're completely invisible. No one would know you're dealing with them except for yourself. They're quite similar to intrusive thoughts in those who have obsessive compulsive disorder or other neurological disorders or mental illnesses, in the way that they're very unwanted thoughts, they're disruptive thoughts, and they're annoying thoughts. However, they're not our own thoughts. And there are three categorizations of said mental tics. We use the suffix skepsi to discuss mental tics. Skepsi is the Greek word for thought, and so we often use the words Paliskepsi, coproskepsi, and echoskepsi to describe mental tics. And as I said, skepsi is the Greek derived word for thought, which means the suffix of all of these words mean thought, which we can infer means it has to deal with the brain. In today's video, I want to briefly discuss these three forms of mental tics, as well as talk about the mental tic that is literally killing me tonight. Paliskepsi is the involuntary repetition of one's own thoughts. The word pali or pali in Greek means again, and skepsi in Greek means thought. So we can combine the prefix and the suffix together to make paliskepsi, which means again thought or repetitive thought. So paliskepsi is the repetition of one's own thoughts and is the mental form of palilalia, which I've made videos in the past on. Paliskepsi can make thinking quite difficult, as it will literally cause you to repeat your own thought or word in your head over and over and over again. So say for example, I was thinking about the word cheese in my head. Sometimes I'll get a word in my head that's just cheese, 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 cheese. Or for example, I've had the thought of the word Remitly before, which I've talked about in previous videos. Remitly is an online money transferring website, which I've seen in an advertisement before, and for some reason it really stuck in my brain. And so I'll have the word Remitly stuck in my head, and this is all Paliskepsi because it has been my own thought and it's repeating in my brain. Echoskepsi is the mental form of echolalia. For those of you that don't know what echolalia is, that is the involuntary repetition of another person's words, sounds, or phrases. We'll hear something and we'll verbally repeat it. Echoskepsi is the mental form of this. Those affected by echoskepsi will often hear the last few words of a sentence in their brain on repeat. So we'll often echo something we heard from another person in our brains. And this is a super common mental tic. So for example, if someone said, "Hey Carly, have you seen that new movie?" In my brain, I might be like, new movie, 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 all on repeat. It is so annoying. And finally, we have coproskepsi. And coproskepsi is the mental form of coprolalia, which is the most well-known tic in the Tourette syndrome world. Coprolalia is the involuntary swearing or socially unacceptable vocalization tic. So coproskepsi involves thinking socially unacceptable things, thinking sexually explicit thoughts, thinking really violent thoughts, things that we don't mean to be having in our brain. This can especially be frustrating when combined with paliskepsi, and it can also bring the worry of having your coproskepsi turn into coprolalia. Any mental tic can be transformed into a vocal tic. So any of these tics that we're having in our brain, we can have the fear of vocalizing them as well. So that's the very basics about the skepsi tics, the mental tics. I don't believe these are scientific terms, but this is the term in the Tourette syndrome community. A lot of us with Tourette's as well as tic disorders will talk about skepsi tics as though they are a legitimate thing, because they are. I just don't believe they have a scientific name, but the skepsi tic is what we use to describe these mental tics in the Tourette syndrome community. What I wanted to talk about today is one of my worst mental tics, which is embarrassing, annoying, and is really always keeping me up at night. It's a mixture of echoskepsi, paliskepsi, as well as a graphia tic. And if you guys don't know what graphia tics are, those are the written forms of tics. And you're probably like, whoa, can tics be written? Yes, they can. I do have a playlist on graphia tics, which I will link up there. However, it is quite dated, and I'm planning on making more of these videos in the near future. So if you would like to see more of those videos, please let me know in the comments. But graphia tics are the involuntary writing, typing, drawing, or tracing of certain things. And I have a mental tic which is paired with a graphia tic, and it is killing me. And I wanted to bring awareness to this because I don't think a lot of people understand the struggle of the hidden parts of Tourette's, the parts of Tourette's that no one sees, the parts that keep me up at night that no one would even know I'm doing. But it's like my brain is a prison. My brain is being haunted by these mental tics. So I'm not going to use the exact tic that I have in this video because it actually involves the name of one of my dad's coworkers, and I don't want to disclose his name, obviously, for personal reasons. So I'm going to use a different name as well as a completely different tic to describe the tic I'm having, but just know this is quite similar to the format of the tic I'm having. I'm only changing the name as well as the outcome of the tic because I want to keep the privacy of this individual, as well as I want to keep my tic private because this tic does embarrass me. But how the tic works is it's a mental tic of repeating the phrase, and again, this is the edited phrase, Joe Pennington has some fantastic penmanship. So how this works for me is I'll repeat the phrase, Joe Pennington has some fantastic penmanship, in my brain on repeat until it gets to the point where I have to include the graphia tic. So how it works for me is I will literally trace every syllable. I will go, Joe Pennington has some fantastic penmanship, and make a plus sign or like a cross. Let me show you on paper. So if this pen was my finger and this paper was literally any surface, this is how it would work. Joe Pennington has some fantastic penmanship, and I would make a plus like that. However, it looks more normal when I can actually see. Let me do it off camera. Joe Pennington has some fantastic penmanship. So it would look more like this, a little bit more normal. So I will repeat this phrase constantly at night, in the day. I'll be tracing Joe Pennington has some fantastic penmanship. And you'll notice for each syllable, I'll do a line. So Joe Pennington has some fantastic penmanship. And it makes the plus sign. This probably sounds absolutely crazy, but hear me out. This is one of the hidden parts of Tourette syndrome that no one knows about. Like, no one even talks about this. I will be up at night tracing and repeating this phrase and saying it in different rhythms. You'll notice I'm saying it in a very specific rhythm. Da 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 da. And it never changes. I'm always repeating it. I'm always tracing it on my bed sheets, on my thighs, on my legs, on my tummy, on wherever I can trace, on the palm of my hand. I'm always tracing. And this is one of my worst mental tics because it is constant. And it just goes to show that different types of tics can kind of intertwine with one another. This mental tic has incorporated a graphia tic as well as a vocal tic, and sometimes even a motor tic, because the tracing is a motor tic in the form of a graphia tic. All of these tics are intertwined. It's very strange. But what I wanted to address specifically in this video is meant for the people that don't understand this. If you're out there and you ever get intrusive thoughts, which most people do get the odd time, mostly just not to the extreme of OCD or Tourette's, a lot of people will get a thought that pops in their head and they're like, oh, I don't like that, but they can move on from it. Say, for example, you're driving your car and all of a sudden a thought pops in your head of, oh, I should drive into a tree. You know, random thoughts that pop in your head that are unwanted. These are the kind of thoughts that I have every single day with mental tics and OCD, but they are quite common to a lot of people. People have intrusive thoughts. But what people don't realize is how intrusive it is to people with Tourette's or other neurological disorders. I'm going to specifically be talking about Tourette's in this video, but OCD and ADHD and autism and other disorders like that are just as valid with these thoughts. But it bothers me because a lot of people in everyday life have the odd intrusive thought and they get uncomfortable. I'm sure if you've ever had an intrusive thought of any kind, whether that's an extreme one or even something like, I wonder what it would be like if I overcooked my chicken, you know, something completely stupid like that, but something you don't want to have. Everyone has intrusive thoughts and everyone doesn't like them. I can't think of one person that likes their intrusive thoughts. But what people don't realize is this is the everyday life of someone with Tourette syndrome and OCD and whatever other disorder. This is the everyday life for me. Every night I'll go to bed tracing. Joe Pennington has some fantastic penmanship, you know? It's just hard, and I don't think people realize how hard it is. And so before you go out there and comment hate on someone with Tourette's video, before you go out there and comment hate on anyone's video who's dealing with something that you don't understand, take a step back and realize you might understand it, just not in the same way that I'm dealing with it. You know, people out there have intrusive thoughts, as I said. Everyone deals with it in some way, shape, or form, just not always in a severe form. And again, mental tics are different from intrusive thoughts, but they're both very annoying, very unwanted, very disruptive thoughts. I deal with both, but we're focusing on mental tics here. But these keep me up at night. This is something I don't want to be thinking, even though it's not inappropriate or something kind of taboo. It's just a random thought. It's an unwanted thought. It is something I don't want to be thinking that is constantly in my head. It's transformed into tracing as well as moving my limbs around. Sometimes I move my feet or my torso in that same cross shape. It's embarrassing, and this is all stemmed from a mental tic, which I've heard my dad repeat the name of this coworker, and through that I have changed it into a mental tic, and through that I have changed it into a graphia tic as well as a motor tic. So keep in mind, tics can interchange. Tics are very, very unwanted. They're very annoying, and it's not something we can control. Trust me, if I could control this, I would not be thinking about Joe Pennington having perfect penmanship. I would be sleeping instead of being awake here at 2 a.m. filming this video for you guys. But instead I can't stop tracing and thinking and talking about this Joe Pennington, and it's brutal. I've had a fascination with name tics ever since I was a kid. My first ever name tic that I was stuck on was Henry O'Donnell. And I don't know a Henry O'Donnell, but as a kid it was my vocal tic. I would constantly talk about Henry O'Donnell this, Henry O'Donnell that. My answer to questions would be Henry O'Donnell, and it would be a vocal tic, me just saying this name that I didn't know about. And it got to the point where on my bedroom door, I literally had to have a sign that said Henry O'Donnell, so every time I entered my room, it would kind of satisfy the mental tic, where I'd be like, okay, I saw it, I don't have to think it. Weird, I know. But just keep in mind, mental tics are a real thing. They're challenging, they're annoying, they're disruptive. Intrusive thoughts are also a real thing, and they're terrifying. They keep me up at night at all hours too. But just know these are real, and before you're gonna hate on someone, just realize you might be going through something similar, just in a way less severe form. So keep that in mind. Before we go, if you like my shirt, I do have a merch store. TiccingTogether.com offers a wide variety of Ticking Together merch. I got rice. Because I do have a tic where I say I got rice. I did design this really cute little rice bowl shirt, and if you would like to purchase one, you can head over to TiccingTogether.com. I have also launched channel memberships on this channel where you can sign up for a small monthly fee to access really cool bonus perks about my Ticking Together channel. Before we head off in this video, I do want to do my membership shout out. Today's membership shout out goes to Brittany Taylor. Thank you so much, Brittany, for being a Tickers Platinum member and for joining my channel memberships. I appreciate you so genuinely greatly, and I can't wait to continue to grow with you. Everyone, let's give Brittany Taylor a round of applause. Thank you so much, Brittany Taylor, for being a member and supporting the Ticking Together family even further. Again, if you would like to be a member, please sign up at my channel. There is a link in the description below, as well as there is a join button you should be able to click to join my channel. If you like this kind of content and would like to stay tuned to Tourette Syndrome awareness content, please subscribe to my channel and ring that notification bell to stay tuned to all of my content here at Ticking Together. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Every single thumbs up helps me so much. I really appreciate it. I got rice. Leave a comment down below saying hi, letting me know what you would like to see in future videos, or letting me know if you have mental tics and how you best deal with them. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. As always, I got rice. Friendly. As always, we're learning together, we're laughing together, and we're ticking together. Bye.